of champions, the real GOAT, the real greatest basketball player of all time. He should be the new logo.
He's not the real GOAT. He lost too many times in the finals, but what he did do, and I will give him respect for, is breaking the all-time scoring record. He came straight out of high school. He didn't go to college, and he never took any time off. He played all these seasons straight and allowed him to get 38,390. And, I bet before it's done, LeBron's going to be the only person ever in the 40,000 point club.
I believe it.
But JJ Redick has got some things to say about the LeBron haters on his podcast. Let's see what JJ had to say, and then let's we'll argue if he's right or wrong.
Not just a longevity thing. Better career shooting percentage from 2 than Kevin Durant. Better than Jordan. 9th all-time in threes. On top of that, he's 4th all-time in assists. Yeah. The constant narrative about nitpicking things with LeBron, most of them are just not factual. LeBron James is not clutch, right? That's another thing that people bring up all the time. Remember early in his career, he would just make the right play and kick to his teammates when he was double teamed?
He just keeps breaking these narratives one by one.
Play-by-play tracking era started in 1996, 1997 season. LeBron James has the most clutch
Jordan's
time points
career
ever. He's got over 2,600. The only other player with over 2,000 clutch time points is Kobe. LeBron James, second most game-tying or game-winning shots inside the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime. Kobe's number one. They're the only two guys that have more than 80. Kobe has 88. LeBron has 81. LeBron James has
5 games where.
But see, JJ's real slick with that. He wants to say those stats started being taken about 96, 97. That's at the tail end of Jordan's career that they actually start looking at stats. So you're missing like 75% of Jordan's career. And also, when you talk about 2-point field goal percentage that LeBron shot better than Jordan, LeBron is going to the layups. He's doing layups and dunks. Jordan is doing turnaround fadeaways while being double teamed. So it's also different there. And then also, LeBron came straight out of high school, so he got to score all these points.
True.
Jordan played 3 years at North Carolina before he went to college, and then he took 2 years off to play baseball before he came back. And then he retired, and then he took like 4 or 5 years off, and then he decided to play a couple games for the Wizards. So if you look at the body of the work and you actually match it up with more about around the same gameplays, Jordan is far beyond LeBron. Especially you look at Jordan won 6 championships in 8 years, and LeBron has won 4 championships. But how many championships has he lost now? Like 8?
He lost like 8. But with this whole thing, they're saying, a lot of people say that the times were different then too. Like back in those times, like back in Kareem times, there were no 3-pointers, and then back in Michael Jordan times, they was like they didn't play zone. There wasn't a lot of they didn't play zone. They didn't double team off zone. They usually play like man to man a lot. You get double team off man to man.
I forget in. But also Jordan had more physical fouls. So it's LeBron is living in the James Harden era where someone breathes on you wrong and you get a foul. Jordan would get clotheslined and they call it a regular foul.
But that's like 2010. He came in 03. 03 that was clotheslining.
Not as much. The early 2000s were a little bit physical, but they weren't nothing like the 90s.
Wasn't that when Kobe Bryant was getting choked out by Reggie Miller?
No, that was Reggie and Jordan that were getting into it.
Nah, I think Kobe got in a fight with Reggie Miller.
He might have. But Reggie was probably like 38 at that time.
Have you seen Kobe Bryant's boxing fights? Like they show all.
I saw Karen Kittles give Kobe a 2-piece. Gave him a 2-piece and a biscuit, and Kobe wasn't quick enough to do nothing.
That's what. The next thing you know, Kobe starts seeing a whole bunch of videos of Kobe Bryant at the boxing gym.
Yeah. He didn't want that ever to happen again.
But with Kareem, and the funny part about this is the whole time that this last game where LeBron played, we broke the record, they kept showing Kareem's face, like every scoop bucket, and then they basically forced him to go down on the court to shake his hand and they give him like praise and all this stuff. But Kareem is mad. Kareem ain't want with all this stuff. He don't respect LeBron James. He don't like LeBron James.
Yeah, and Kareem set that record without shooting threes. I think he only made a couple threes his whole career.
But at the same time, Kareem only had like 3 people he had to worry about, which he had to worry about
Will Chamberlain.
Will Chamberlain, like 2 more people, and then you had at least 2.
Bill Russell for a little bit, but then Bill was old.
Yeah, Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain. You had those 2 people that's over 6 feet. Everybody else was like 6'7", 6'8". LeBron James plays against 7-foot people every time. Every time LeBron, and he was getting hit in the beginning. You got to give him something. Like he's not. I won't say like it really just depends on where you were born. And I guess the further and further away you get.
To me, it's just all about winning. It's just LeBron, as great as he is, no matter if he scores 1 million more points, he's just lost too many times in the finals, especially when his team was the favorite. I mean, you can't really blame him for those early Cleveland years, but those Miami years, I mean, he's got saved by Ray Allen. If it wasn't for Ray Allen, grabbing that rebound, stepping back and hitting the 3 to send that game into overtime, the Miami Heat would have been 1-3 in the finals. I mean, they actually super underperformed as a super team. They were actually kind of a joke, and people made fun of them. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks whooped the heck out of them. The Spurs.
They tried to.
The Spurs should have beat them.
They cheated
twice, but as you saw when they had the rematch, the Spurs dang near swept them. It wasn't even close. And then the only team that they really truly beat down on was the young OKC team when Russ and Durant were super young players and they weren't ready for that moment. So they truly didn't beat anybody. And if it wasn't for that shot, they would have got beaten 75% of the time. So, I mean, they severely underachieved there. And then Jordan was on one team. He wasn't hopping around and playing for 4, 5, 6 franchises. Usually, to me, if a player has to play for that many franchises, that means his career didn't go on the path that he expected it to go. Because there's no other player that was good that had to jump around franchises like that. Kobe played for the Lakers his whole career. Jordan played for the Bulls his whole career. You have Paul Pierce, who played for the Celtics, like 95% of his career. And, you have a ton of players like that. They didn't move around. And if they did move around, it was at the very end of their career because they still wanted to keep playing rather than retire, was the only reason they ended up on another team. LeBron, he moved around and he lost too much. And I think that's why he's not the GOAT. It's hard to, do, 4-8 versus 6-0.
I get that, but the deeper and deeper we go into the years, they're gonna just like they stopped counting Kareem, because back in the Jordan era they counted Kareem.
At the end of the day, you ain't even gotta ask the whole world. You don't even ask who's the greatest player. People ask anybody who's the greatest player in the world. You need to ask LeBron James' sons. And you know what LeBron James' sons were wearing to him breaking the record? You know what shoes they had on?
What?
They both had on Jordans.
They nice shoes. Everybody like Jordan shoes.
Because he's the GOAT. Everyone's not wearing LeBrons. You're not wearing retro LeBrons. What are you wearing? You're wearing Jordans. How many pairs of Jordans do you have? How many pairs of LeBrons do you have? Case closed.
I can't stand.
Case closed.
I'll give you that.
He's the GOAT. No one has affected pop culture more than Michael Jordan.
See it. They gonna just like they forgot about Joe Montana and Dan Marino, and now they're talking about Tom Brady's a GOAT and Patrick Mahomes is
Tom Brady ain't no GOAT. He's a cheater.
They gonna forget about him. Like as time goes by, like if you talk to us,
they ain't never forgot about Jordan. That's why he's so great.
If you talk to us, like talk to people that's like 25 and older, you get the debate of Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. But if you talk to anybody under the age of
born
18,
after 2000,
like born after 2000, they all gonna say either some might say
LeBron or Kobe.
They gonna say LeBron, Kobe, or Steph Curry.
Probably.
So I mean, it just depends on the deeper.
Well, we all know the truth. It's Jordan.
I mean, only thing Jordan, if he didn't have this movie, it'd have been more LeBron's, and he was bigger. LeBron James was an activist. He helps the community. Michael Jordan did nothing for the community.
He gave everyone shoes.
He didn't give nobody shoes. He bullied this one kid because he had Allen Iversons.
Yeah, I would bully that kid too.
You are.
Who's wearing Iversons, man? Who's wearing? Was it Reebok?
Yeah,
Reebok ain't it? You might as. It's like wearing Puma or K